I'm just looking at the monitor here in the studio, and as I'm looking at it, I see traffic being evacuated in Florida, and most of it going one direction, although some stray vehicles going the other direction. They're likely emergency traffic going into the area where the storm is expected to hit there in the next couple of days. I bring this up because the cameras and most of the media coverage is now focused on that area, and the media is packed up because it can only seem to cover one house fire at a time. That's an analogy, if you will. So they've left Texas, but the crisis in Texas still goes on and is going to be going on for months. We spoke last week with Diana Oxner. She is there with a response team from here in Idaho in the American Red Cross, and they are looking into this matter and doing their best to try to help with the recovery effort. And she has been on the ground now for a week. And Diana, first of all, welcome back to our show.
Well, thanks. It's really good to be back. It's good to hear a familiar voice from home.
Hey, well, that's a good thing. Although people in Texas are quite friendly, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, we've experienced so much hospitality. Actually, from the time my partner and I left Idaho, every state that we traveled through, which ended up being a total of 5 by the time we got here, we have been met with nothing but hospitality from people everywhere. The people here in Texas, obviously, a lot of gratitude for the Red Cross presence and all of the response presence from all agencies, because their state has really been uprooted, if you will, from this experience with Hurricane Harvey.
What is it you're seeing? There's still a lot of water in places, right?
That's correct. I'm out in a place. I ended up being stationed in Sugar Land, Texas, running the it's called Kitchen 11. I'm out here trying to get I have a team of herbs. There's right now I have 15 herbs. They go out every day to take meals and critical supplies out into communities way, way, way far away from base. We currently right now have what we know about. I have 3 areas I can't even get my herbs into at this moment because there is still a great deal of water. I-10 is one of those places. They're actually still doing rescues on each side of that interstate. So we're trying to have, I try to stage a truck out there every day with supplies so that when people do, when they are pulled from that area, I have critical supplies there for them. And it seems like every single day that goes by, we're finding these new little pockets of places that have been virtually stuck in place since Harvey had landfall. So I think this is going to continue for quite some time.
Have you witnessed anything that you would call tragic while you're there?
I have seen, to me, any destruction is tragic. I have been able to get away from my base long enough to take a couple of trips to get supplies and such. We have seen many streets. I can't even count them. I even saw some coming into Houston today to pick up supplies. There are streets here, Bill, that have, oh my gosh, it's heartbreaking. They have piles that are 20 feet in the air and, as wide as their house out on the street, full of, you can drive by, you can see their couches, you can see their children's toys. We've seen, big screen TVs. We've seen boxes full of clothes, boxes full of family photos. We've seen refrigerators literally in the street that came from one house and ended up way down the street. We've seen people who, basically some of them lost just a few things. Their house may have got flooded, but they're going to have to go back in and replace carpet and wallboard. But then we've talked to people who literally lost their home, period. There's no way they're going to be able to recover the home because the water was just so deep. And, as you know, when water gets so far up, it just will not pass an inspection to be rebuilt. They have to go in and knock them down. So what's tragic to me, aside from, every little thing that's lost for people, is the fact that we have whole neighborhoods and communities that are going to be a loss. They're going to be completely torn down and rebuilt. Um, their lives are completely uprooted. It will never be the same. And for me, I mean, things are things, stuff is stuff. And yes, they can replace the material things, but it was theirs. It was things they worked hard for. It was things they owned. We still have people missing here. That's very difficult when we find people that don't have all of their family members accounted for. So that to me is the most tragic. But any kind of loss is difficult, and especially when people they don't do anything to ask for this. It's just an act of nature. But no, I can't imagine what it's like to actually lose everything.
Our guest is Diana Oxner, and she's joining us from Houston, Texas this morning. And of course, she's from Jerome. She is there with a disaster team from the American Red Cross out of Idaho. We're at 9:12, and it's 61 now on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. Top story with Bill Colley. On a note, we've been reading about the fact that a lot of wild critters have moved into a lot of particular neighborhoods where they aren't normally seen. You had an encounter a few days ago with what may have been a very dangerous snake.
Oh, wow, that's the truth. I was going from my Irv office out in the parking lot we're stationed at a Baptist church out there in Sugar Land, and we have to walk probably 1.5 to 2 football field distance to get from my office into the church office where I frequently have meetings. And I was late. I was running late because I'd been dealing with one of my herbs that had an issue. And so I took a shortcut, decided to go across the grass, which is no big deal. People have been doing that since we got here. So, I started walking pretty fast. Of course, too tired to run, but I saw something move in the grass, so I kind of stopped. And when I finally got a glimpse, it was a black snake. And I'm not familiar with the names of snakes here. I know that we've been told that they have been taken away from their habitat. And so we always know when we go to places that have alligators, snakes, fire ants, that kind of stuff, to be on guard. So I finally could see this black snake, and we were like face to face. So I tried to move to the left. I was going to just try to go around him. Well, when I moved to the left, so did he. So then I moved to the right. My heart's beating out of my chest. The little bugger followed me to the right. So we just had a face down. Face to face stare down. I finally decided I didn't have no choice. I was just going to have to turn around and run for it. So that's what I did. I headed from the parking lot, or from him, as fast as I could, right to the middle of the parking lot. So I had like 30 feet on each side of me so I could see if he was coming after me. So I made it to the parking lot all right, but then I saw something else move in front of me, and I looked down, and it was a single line of lizards going across the road. So I'm like, oh, this is not going to be a good day.
Your visit to
anyway,
the zoo.
I know. So I just backed off, let them do their thing because, they've been displaced as well. So I let this happy little trail clear off, went into the building, had to turn around, make sure nothing followed me in there. But I did report it, of course. And so now we've been asked to stay off the grass because they really don't know whether it was there are grass snakes here that are similar to the description that some of us have given. Unfortunately, however, there are black water moccasins. And since we do not have an ID on those, we're no longer allowed to walk in grassy areas or weedy areas. And so we're just being ultra cautious. So, in a way, it kind of helped to know that there are predators around here. And so now I can work a little more diligently to keep my team and myself safe out here.
For people who are going through this, and I mentioned just a few minutes ago, the media attention is now centered on Florida and that part of the Caribbean. There's got to be a feeling among many of the people you're dealing with that when the cameras go, that they're going to be forgotten. Is any of that being expressed to you?
You know what? I'm not into the media very often out where I'm at. They've been out, I think, to see us at one point. So I'm not experiencing that as much as they will here in headquarters. Um, Honestly, I know from past experiences, there are times when we are out on deployments, and sometimes it's really wonderful that we get coverage. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of times we're so oblivious to the fact that they're even here, and that's because we're just engrossed in what we're doing. We do have Red Cross media people that deploy in that department, and they usually handle that situation. Um, I do know that there's media on site here this morning, though. Our CEO and president, Gail McGovern, is here at headquarters, and she's talking to everyone this morning to kind of give us updates and thank everybody for serving. And so there is media that is still here. And I understand they need that there's a lot happening in Florida and along the coast, and we're sending a lot of people there. So it makes sense. The media goes where the action is, and certainly right now, that's where the action is, the very current action. We hear, though, we never forget that there's still a lot going on, still people that need to be rescued. We have people missing. We're pushing 70 known fatalities, which is never acceptable. It's very difficult for everyone here. And, I think the media will be in and out depending on what's happening. But for right now, I'm sure that the focus is going to be over on the coastline, seeing what happens there.
Well, we want to thank you for your time and your effort, obviously, and I know you're going to be there at least another week. We may have to get another update, I would imagine, probably middle of next week or so.
Hey, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm into my second week now. I don't even know how many days. I don't even know what day of the week it is, to tell you the truth. But I will be here for quite a while. My manager has requested already that I have an extension, and so that's in consideration at this point. Got to make sure things on the home front for me are in place, and finances are always an issue. So if I can work things out, and I know that I'm okay that way, then I certainly will be glad to extend and stay here and help Texas a little longer. So yes, give me a call. I'd love to chat with you again.
All right. Well, take care of yourself. Stay away from the snakes, and we'll be talking next week.
Wonderful, Bill. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Diana Oxner joining us this morning from the American Red Cross disaster team that was dispatched from Idaho to Texas to deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. And she's got some stories to tell, that's for sure. 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX, newsradio1310.com at 61. Speaking of hurricanes, Rush Limbaugh is being accused of calling the hurricane warnings fake news. He has a rather stern reply for the liberals in the media who are making that claim. More details on the way.